Happy Wednesday, church. It's Wednesdays with the Word. How are we as the people of God different from the world around us? The scriptures tell us that that's the call of God to be different. Certainly we are in this world, but because of what Jesus has done for us through his salvation and his resurrection and by giving us his Spirit, we as the people of God are marked as different. But how? How are we different? Are we different by the words that we say or the things that we do or don't do? I would argue that yes, those things are true, but there's one thing that I've noticed as we've been reading through the book of Exodus this summer, following the Torah reading plan through the Bible app from the Bible Project. We're reading through the first 5 books of the Bible, and we're in the middle of Exodus. And this week, as I've been reading and throughout reading the entire book of Exodus, there's one thing that I've noticed that marks the people of God as different than those around them who aren't a part of the people of God. And it's this. It's the presence of God. The presence of God marks the people of God as different than the world around them. I mean, God's presence shows up all across the story of Exodus. He shows up in the burning bush to Moses. He does these powerful plagues that eventually Pharaoh relents and lets them go. And then God's presence shows up in a cloud and fire that leads the people out of Egypt. He leads them to Mount Sinai, his holy mountain, where God's presence shows up in a storm. And Moses spends so much time in God's presence in the book of Exodus. And in Exodus chapter 33 and 34, we get this climax of God's presence when Moses enters into this tent of meeting. This is his habit. He goes to this tent of meeting outside and he talks to God face to face. And in this tent of meeting, one day God tells Moses it's time to leave. It's time to leave the mountain of Sinai to go to the promised land. And Moses has some concerns. And he asks God, are you going to come with us? Because we need you to go with us. And the Lord reassures Moses in Exodus chapter 33, verse 14. He says, I'll personally go with you, Moses, and I'll give you rest, and everything will be fine for you. But Moses doesn't quite understand it, and he has a retort to God. He says, if you don't personally go with us, don't make us leave this place. Moses insists that the presence of God stays with the people of God. And Moses says, how will anyone know that you look favorably on me and your people if you won't go with us? And then Moses says this in Exodus 33, verse 16. He says, for your presence, God, your presence sets us apart from the people around us and all the peoples on this earth. So what makes us different? It's the presence of God. It's the presence of God in our lives. We have access to the presence of God today through the power of the Holy Spirit. And so today, I encourage you, seek the presence of God. Seek it out in a moment of silence, the moment that you set aside through prayer, through reading the scriptures, or just sitting and asking God's Spirit to live in you and empower you to be different because he is in you and you're in his presence. I encourage you to keep reading. Seek the presence of God, and may the presence of God mark us as different today. And may the world around us see that we are different because we have the presence of God and what Jesus has done for us on the cross, and we are empowered by his Spirit to witness to the hope that we have. Keep being faithful, follow God today, and be in his presence.